I did not mean for that to happen. Hey guys, this is Allison from AllyKatzkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connected dot, a mind-blown moment, a mushroom cloud moment, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work, and all the links are at the bottom of the description. Finally, like I promised, Oahspe. I like my shirt. It's truth. Thankfully, I didn't get the storms that were predicted to hit my area. It kind of went south. It did get a really bad rainstorm, did get a little windbag. Everything, thankfully, is fine. Gutters are working. Everything is like just great. But so when you're told you're getting a tornado, usually people don't take that seriously. I've seen some crazy shit in my life. So I went to the gas station to go get gas for my generator. So it's 5 gallons. Those big containers. And it was raining. I put gloves on. I go outside. I open the cap and I killed my back really bad. And I couldn't do anything that twisting motion. I really couldn't do that yesterday. It really hurt. In certain ways, I was sitting hurt. So I didn't want to start this section because I know there's going to be things in here that are going to frustrate me because I can't pronounce or project it properly. I just didn't want to go there yesterday. So I do apologize to my Oahspe fans or anybody that's interested in this book, not because, you know, I'm not a perfect grader at all. And having fake teeth, I've taken them out in a lot of videos. It kind of sucks. But I can't do anything because I need security and I need to find a job. Because I have to get some health insurance or some dental, something that I could pay to get my teeth fixed, or at least get a denture. I don't care. But if I take my teeth out, I look like where I was born. Redneck. Book of Sue of Jehovah. Being the second cycle after the flood. Now, I just want to say to the people that are new or they haven't seen all the other, there's a lot of Oahspe videos. I just want to say that I jump around in this book. I don't keep it to, and there was a reason for that. Like a year ago when I read this book, there were things that were relevant in certain sections that I read on my channel. Whereas now, I mean, everything is relevant, but I jumped around in this book. It's not like your Rancho where it's paper to paper. This is, I jump around. So there's no order to the madness. Let's just put it that way. So just like most of these sections, it has the Oahspe part, and then it has the Lord's second book, being contemporaneous with the book of Sue, son of Jehovah, as the latter is chiefly of the angels of heaven, so the Lord's book of man on earth. So I'm going to read okay, I can read the book because it's short. And then the other one I'll do also after. So I'm going to start with the Lord's second book, and then I'll go up to Oahspe. That's how I usually do it. I know it's a lot of ranting, but it's important ranting. And then this thing is huge. The Lord's second book, chapter 1. God said, I, the Lord, for my predecessors and successors, and for myself, declare these things unto mortals. The chosen of God, being called thy hands, because they were the fruit of both heaven and earth, were taken into all the earth in the protection of God, his lords and angels, for the fulfillment of man on the earth, for the glory of the Almighty. I hate to do this, but I'm going to pause here. When the supposed flood of Noah happened, this is what it's prefacing. Okay. Yeah. They did go in earth. They went to Agartha. That is documented, and so many people say it, but I just want to let you guys know who probably don't read the other stuff that I do. And if you do, great, you knew that already. But it said into all the earth. Oahspe, you just introduced Agartha. Congratulations. And I, the Lord of one time mortal, with my holy angels who had sprung from the earth in former times, walked with men to keep him upright in the way he should. By command of God, the angels watched over man, teaching man oftentimes unknowingly to himself in all good works and industry. By constant changes of watch did the angels relieve one another daily, weekly, and monthly. And in no time did the angels leave the Ihins alone and without the light of heaven. And whithersoever the Ihins went, they went with the angels. The angels often took on Sagris and were seen by men even daily, and man talked with them face to face. And the angels told man what was good for him, showing him the way of righteousness. And men depended on the Lord and his angels for all things helpful to his understanding. Now, when the earth was inhabited in many places, and there were thousands of cities and villages, the Lord said unto man, behold, thou hast made the earth the joy of the Lord, and now I give it into thy keeping. How sayest thou? And man answered, it is well, I can keep the earth, and I shall rejoice thereon, because it is the gift of God. The Lord said, if I stay with thee day and night, forever thou wilt not put forth thy own power and judgment. Men said, go with thy way, O Lord. Then the Lord withdrew a while, taking his angels with him. Now in those days were the grounded people dwelling in the wilderness, who had not the light of heaven in them. Neither could they be made to understand. Dracos. Nevertheless, in the winter, when food was scarce, the ground people came to the cities of the Ihins, beseeching for food, and the Ihins, remembering the commandments of God, went out unto them, treating them to everything good to eat. Now behold, the chosen were tempted by the people of darkness, and it came to pass that a new race was born on earth, and they were called Ihuans, after the manner of the ancient warriors that destroyed the chosen before the flood. These Ihuans were copper-colored and were capable of speech. When God beheld what had happened, he called to the Ihins, saying, O ye that could dispense with the Lord, give I not unto you the mark of the circumcision as a limit to the line of my chosen? Hear me now in my prophecy. The Ihuan shall be taught the name of Jehovah, the great spirit, and the plans of heaven and earth. And the Ihuan shall inhabit the whole earth in time to come, and he should have dominion over everything on earth and in the waters of earth. And in time to come, the Ihin race shall disappear from the earth. Their like shall not be found on this footstool. The Ihins inquired of the Lord when these things should come to pass. The Lord said, according to the cycles, some 21,000 years. The Lord said, from this time forth, the Ihins shall not mingle with any other people on the face of the earth. This is my commandment, and whosoever violateth my word shall be cast out of my cities and go and dwell with the barbarians. Nice, lovely God you are. Inasmuch as the Ahumans are your heirs and are capable of everlasting life, ye shall be unto them the light of my kingdoms, teaching them peace, righteousness, and mercy. But ye shall in no case suffer them to enter your cities and abide therein. Neither shall ye raise a hand to do them harm. But if they come upon you in multitudes to take your stores, then ye depart out of the city, leaving the Ahumans to take the goods and food for themselves. For ye shall be as an example of non-resistance for the sake of establishing the love of God in them. God foresaw that the Ahumans should be separated from the Drooks. Otherwise, Yaks would again be born into the world. And he said unto the Ahins, Behold, the Ahumans cannot hear the voice of the Lord. Therefore, go ye unto them, saying, Thus saith the Lord, if ye mingle with the Drooks, you seed shall not inherit everlasting life, but go down in darkness. And the Ahins went and told the Ahumans the words of God. Nevertheless, many of the Ahumans broke the commandment, and indeed Yaks were born again into the world. The Ahins said to one another, Are not these like those of the legends of old, who were made eunuchs and servants? The Ahumans inquired the meaning, and when they were told, they made a law unto themselves, making eunuchs and servants of both Yaks and the ground people, wherever they came upon them. And the Ahins feared for the judgments of God, and they called out to him for a remedy. But God answered them, saying, Because of the enmity betwixt these two races, behold, they will not marry. Suffer ye the Ahumans to do in their own way. For of what profit it is to bring forth their heirs that cannot inherit my exalted heavens? Because the tribes of darkness cannot be made to understand. Behold, their souls go out, being as a lamp that burned out. So it came to pass that the Ahumans made eunuchs of the tribes in darkness of both sexes, did they thus, and they made slaves of them also. The Lord said, the Ahumans shall have laws of their own. Let my chosen go unto them and make laws for them, saying, Thus saith the Lord. The Ahumans shall be guardians over the Ahins, the sacred people, and through the Ahins will I bless the Ahumans and make them mighty. Since it is not lawful for the Ahins to kill beast, nor bird, nor serpent, behold, their cities and mounds are invaded by all manner of evil beasts and serpents. The Ahumans shall slay all such evil beasts and serpents, and they shall guard around about the cities and mounds where abide my chosen. Servants shall the ground people and the Yaks be unto the Ahumans, and the latter shall cast their servants, and they shall not multiply on the earth. Hear ye then the law of God betwixt the Ahumans, one with another. Whoso doth an injury to his neighbor, or to a stranger, the same shall be done unto him. Whoso taketh from another, an equivalent shall be rendered twofold. Whoso killeth a man, a woman, or a child shall be put to death. Whoso marrieth his sister or mother, or half-sister, or half-mother, they shall also suffer death together. Whoso oppresseth another shall be cast out of the tribe of his people. He that blasphemeth the Great Spirit shall be put to death. It's a great God, I'm telling you what. He that respecteth not the time of women shall be put to death. The fields have I given to the Ahins, but the forest and wilderness have I, the Lord, given unto the Ahumans. And it was so, the Ahumans began to be carnivorous, but the Ahins ate neither flesh nor fish. Chapter 3. In all the great divisions of the earth, these things were, nor had one division of the earth much preference over another, but in the regions of summer weather, where the earth brought forth abundantly, the Ihuns and ground people dwelt most numerously, though the Ihuns dwelt in both the warm and the cold countries, for they clothed themselves and built habitations. But the Ihuans were only a covering about the loins, neither built they any habitations, and they rove around far and near. But the ground people traveled not. They mingled with their own kin, bringing forth heirs of darkness. The Ihuans learned the laws and obeyed them, and they looked upon the Ihuns as a secret people, doing them no harm. And it came to pass that the Ihuans were a very prolific people, 4 times more prolific than the Ihuns or the ground people. And they spread rapidly over the earth, and in all the regions where the earth brought forth fruit and roots, flesh and fish, they were good to eat. For 2,000 years the Ihuans prospered, and they became mighty in countries. But in course of time they began to war upon one another, and for hundreds of years they descended lower and lower in darkness. And they obeyed no longer the commandments of God, but they mingled with the ground people, bringing forth heirs of darkness. Just to preface this, though, the earth people, if we really, it's like, again, we're living in duality. So in Agartha, there are good races, mostly good races, and then there are some not so nice races in there. Just saying. Now to the top of the book. Chapter 1. Jehovah spake in the gardens of Atahavia, precinct of Su, Orion chief in the Etherian firmament, saying, Su, my son, what of the red star, the far off earth? Behold, her harvests are blighted. She is become barren in imparting immortal souls to my unending realms. Su heard the voice, and he said, In thy name, O Jehovih, will I summon my gods of Hoit and Izakara. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this again. Swift messengers departed, and Su, quick perceiving God of 2 worlds in the Etherian, Semar, foresaw the importance of the coming red star. He said, This with my gods of Hoit and Izkara, who will come in swift speed, shall be the second deliverance. Then came Li Wing, god of Hoit, and presently Sivian, goddess of Izkarchia. Is it that? Zaracha or Izra? I don't know. And they stood before Jehovah's throne. Su said, Jehovah hath spoken. Behold, the red star bringeth forth nor sons nor daughters, more to Jehovah's realm. She is weak, unstrong, and out of tune, and cometh this way. I said, in thy power of wisdom, O Jehovah, will I visit the red star. 6 years I will stand on her soil and course her heaven, in such potency give to her confused gods and lords, as will make 1,000 million sing for joy. To accompany me, I call you. Behold, I have charts and maps of her heaven and her corporal parts, and a history of her as yet young adventurers in the field of worlds. Then spake ye Li Wing and Sivian, saying, To do Jehovah's will and thine, behold, we are come to thee. Give us to fulfill whatsoever thou wilt. To the swift messengers Su said, Ye have heard. Go proclaim throughout my Etherian worlds my will, and summon up from Ithithius 100 million skilled volunteers. When the red star shall cross the wing of Zarka, we will go forth in power and land on her troubled parts in a sea of golden light. Again, I do apologize if that's not the way you say it. Chapter 2. There's going to be a lot of words I am not pronouncing. In the Iska of Portan of the Etherian worlds and division of Hoyt, and Zara-Icha, flew the call of the gods for volunteers, than which a more welcome sound is not heard in high heaven to Jehovah's will. And with the voice and call there rose up hosts from every quarter, from every subdivision, till the complement stood ready for the great work. And yet so vast were the fields and arcs of Issachar that the 100 millions chosen were as but a fraction compared to those left uncalled. Coming near the throne of Su in Oit, the 100 millions formed in squares and stars, and chosen God took his place to the head and front, looking to the low horizon where rose the red star, the sick earth. And now the builders who had measured the elements lying in the route toward the earth formed their crescent ships of fire and equipped it. And with mantles and curtains and banners created it a vessel of beauty and ornaments as well as service. Hardly with the ship completed when Jehovah's light encompassed it about on all sides, so that which was beautiful before was now illuminated and sparkling and bright as the sun, and rich in golden colors, for all such was the eth of the heavens hereabout created. When Su entered the ship, the voice of Jehovah came, saying, another cycle came and is gone on earth and her heaven, but still they fall to the barrenness earth the succeeding dawn. Go now, O Su, my son, and a wider range give to the tracks of both angels and mortals, give a greater scope to tyrants, kings, and queens on earth, and greater to the self-gods and self-lords in Hada, and more responsibility. Then all hands entered the Etherian ship, singing and rejoicing, observed by countless millions. Come wish them a haven of joy on their 6 years' visit to the corporal earth. Su said, in my name, O Jehovah, and by virtue of thy power in me vested, my host shall forth at my command cut loose, ye gods, and now, O ship of heaven, born to the red star, the earth be gone. And Su stretched forth his hands and waved them, and lo, the mighty ship of heaven turned on its axis, cutting loose from the high firmament, and in turn, with its great curtains and banners, sailing gracefully and swiftly through the blue ether. The music of her ensuers swelled and rolled along on the spheres of many worlds unseen to mortals, where countless millions of spectators viewing the marvelous speed and power and brilliant colors of the great ship. Faster and faster she sped on, till nearing Shimvat, which now cut sharp in the fields of the forest of Zaraka, over which was potent the name of Su, the companion god and chiefest friend of Orion, chief son of Jehovih. When the ship came to the bridge and halted to take in the plain of the whirling earth, Su said, a light, ye gods, and at once a high as the moon and bright as the sun, the illumined ship stood. The Ovra, the self-gods and warrior kings and murderers of the earth born, whose plentiful souls in chaos polluted heaven. For 3 days and nights, Su held his starship to the wonderful task of mastering by the marvelous scene, and then slowly he entered the vortex of earth, but held his course nor with the earth and her heaven, for it desired that both corporeans and atmospherians should witness the coming power. So slowly he came, but 50,000 miles a day, that when the ship neared the disorganized horde, the self-gods and self-lords fled and left their well-supplied kingdoms desolate, and down to the earth rushed in thousands, and with their hosts in millions to hide or safely stow themselves from the Agni's just hate. But the true God and Lord stood firm in their depleted kingdoms, fearing not, but in the faith that this Etherian ship was Jehovah's answer to their long cry for help from the heavenly spheres, and by their pillars of fire standing great. Su knew where to land in the lower heaven for safe anchorage. So to Hord he came slowly and toward the throne of God, and when he neared the place, his ensuers chanted and trumpeters played, the sounds of which music came to the ears of God and his hosts, and they were the hymns of more than 1,000 years ago. And God and his hosts sent up rockets and displayed 3 primary colors, the sign of Jehovah's name, and God's ensuers joined the chanting with the hosts above. Presently the ship of fire was at the place of landing, and Su, Jehovah's son, cast out a ladder and descended with the hosts, the 100,000,000 angels, led by Gustative, Marshalless of the throne of Su in Izarka. I'm going to say that word 1,000 times differently, so please just ignore. Really annoying. Su said, "Hail, O God of heaven and earth, in Jehovah's name, I come in power and wisdom." And God answered, "Glory be to thee, O Jehovah, that thy son hath come so far to bless thy bewildered kingdom." Then they saluted with the signs of the 6th resurrection, whereupon God said, "In the name of the Great Spirit, come thou and honor my throne." So Su went forward, and they greeted by shaking hands. And Su ascended and sat on the throne, saying, "Keep thy place, O God, for I come to displace thee or thy host of Jehovah, but to build up for his glory. Be seated, therefore, for I feel the light of the Father descending on my head." Presently, the all light enveloped Su, and the Father's voice spake through him, saying, "Hear the words of thy Creator, my son, and rejoice, because I have not forgotten thee and thy people. Behold, this is the hour of thy redemption for the trials and tetracts which are run abroad in my dominions. Was it not worse than this in the olden time? And I came with my host, delivered them. I created man in darkness and gave to him no judgment, that the creation of his thoughts might be for his glory forever. But instead of beautifying this in his thoughts, he hearkened the tetracts and clothed himself in clouds. The heaven I built for him, he diggeth to pieces, and then buildeth his own, but only to be displeased and turbulent. Neither will he content himself with providing with his own hands, but searcheth out my most dutiful sons and daughters, making slaves of them for his own exhilaration. Behold, I have aforetime sent my sons and daughters to search out these traitors and self-gods, declaring unto them that only by forsaking evil and practicing righteousness could they obtain to my exalted kingdoms their evil places, where I cast down and rebuilt in honor and glory, that their own judgment might determine that virtue and good works are the sure foundation for happiness that will endure forever. When I raised them up in one cycle and made the lower heaven a paradise, alas, my Ethereans have been gone away for a little while, when the tetracts took root and grow and turn all things upside down. But now will I build them up in a new way. Yeah, I will appropriate the evil of their inventions to their own good in a way they dream not of. The false gods and false lords shall be arrested and brought before the judgment seat, and I will judge them by their own behavior and desires. Neither will I torment them, nor abridge their happiness. Send them, therefore, my son, thy marshals, into the hidden places of these gods and lords, and say to them, Thus saith the host of heaven, Come, my son, and inherit a kingdom in Hada, and thy own way, for lo, there is room for all, but thou art not left behind. Come quickly to Hord. And they will come hoping to embellish themselves in the old manner, but my light shall come in due time in my own way. The voice ceased, but Su spake of his own account, saying, What Jehovah hath ordered do ye. So marshals and priests were sent in all directions in atmosphere to gather the false gods and false lords who had deserted their dominions in the fear of the light of Su's Etherean ship. And after many days, the false ones were brought to Hord, and There were of them 7,000 lords and gods. Now when they were before Su, Jehovah's son, and arranged so that I could hear and see even the whole council beside, the light gathered around about the throne. And Su addressed them, saying, Hear me, O men and women. I have sent for you, and ye are here. In this I am pleased. Know then that what I speak shall be in love and tenderness. Ye have deserted Jehovah's kingdoms, and it must be because it pleased you better than to remain. This is not true, and ye also deserted your own false kingdoms. For a little while they consulted together, and then answered, saying, Nay, it pleased us not to desert our own kingdoms, but we were afraid. Su said, Who think ye I am? They answered, A god from some far off world, but where it lieth we know not. We desire to know who thou art. Su said, I am but a man, fear me not. But since ye feared, and so deserted your kingdoms, does it not prove that ye are not the all-highest? And do ye not perceive that because ye had no all-highest, ye were divided and inharmonious? Hear then that which I say, and consider my words. I want not your kingdoms, nor anything ye have, but that the harmony may reign in heaven. I will give every one of you more than ye had, add power unto you also. Since ye beheld I am come to hoard the throne of the ancients, perceive ye not that whatsoever accordeth with me is of my power also. Take then your kingdoms and be gods and goddesses, as ye assumed before, and I will anoint ye, and make ye as part and parcel of one unit whole. Again they counseled together, and then answered, Why shall we take our kingdoms? Our slaves have deserted us, our kingdoms are pillaged, and all their value. Yeah, our slaves have become wandering spirits, and are returned to the earth, and are making their habitations with mortals, so that the people of earth are aroused because of miracles and wonders occurring on earth. Su said, What can ye say to these wandering spirits that will induce them to come up away from mortals? To which they answered, If we promise them provender and clothes and plenty of rest, they will come. But when we put them to labor, they will run away, having tasted of liberty. Su said, How then made ye slaves of them in the first place? To which they answered, We took them in the day their mortal bodies died, and they never saw nor knew any other place in heaven, so we appropriated them to our service dutifully. Su said, Know then, this is my conclusion. First, that ye shall all be made as sub-gods to one confederacy, and your kingdom shall be fair to look upon and well supplied with all things needful. Behold, there are on earth with the barbarians, hosts of familiars and feudals, whoever then of you will go down to the earth and bring them away to hoard shall have them for his slaves, and whoever bringeth the greatest number, to him will I award the greatest kingdom. And if it be that ye can't find emissaries to work for you in bringing feudals and familiars away from the barbarians, then shall such labor be accounted to your credit, and you shall station around about in the corporeal cities certain angels whose labor shall be receive newborn spirits on birthing blankets, and bring them to your kingdoms also, for they shall be your slaves. After that manner spake Su, and the false gods and goddesses were highly pleased, and they divided themselves into certain districts over mortals for the lower heaven, and were at once sent off to labor in their own way, and they were named sub-gods. Su said, These sub-gods have much weight with the barbarians, because they advise them in war. But behold, it shall come to pass that the sub-gods have robbed the barbarians of their familiar spirits. The Ayin priests will have a greater weight with them, and the sub-gods will desire to find favor in my sight, and so teach their slaves, which will cause them to emancipate themselves in time to come. Chapter 3. This is the last one, guys. Jehovah spake through Sue, saying, Mine is a strong government and everlasting. Hearken to the wisdom of your Creator, O my sons and daughters, wherein have I not given liberty to all people. He that doeth all right within is he not free? He that doeth a wrong, wherein hath he liberty? Whoever endureth to surpass himself, have I not shown him his limit? I created man at 0, but for him to add unto himself forever. Liberty I gave him to add only that which perfected his own soul. Therefore, if he eats poison, it taketh from him his body, which I gave. Herein made I boundary, both on earth and in heaven, which is to say, inasmuch as men accumulate virtue, wisdom, patience, love, truth, and pure words, he is free, because in so doing he followeth me in my works. But he that seeketh to glorify himself in his possessions bindeth himself, because he is unlike me. For I gave all, and thus made the universe. 2 states, therefore, have I created open to all men, both on earth and in atmosphere, which are liberty and bondage, and man I made to choose that which he will, but that he might not err, behold, I send my emancipated angels to explain these things beforehand. Even so are governments ordained by my holy ones, wherein ye may judge whether a government be of me or against me. For if give liberty to all righteous works, and for the promotion of knowledge, providing teachers to the extent of the demand, it is of me. But if the government maketh of itself a self, for which aggrandizement is at the expense of my children's liberty, then it is against me. For I have not created a people to be today as were their forefathers, but provide them with a perpetual growth in wisdom and virtue, wherefore the rising generation shall rebel against that which was well and good for their forefathers. All my governments understand this, whether on earth or in heaven. Whether governments accepteth not this rule, shall go down in destruction. For as I have hedged men about with sentinels, such a pestilence, poverty, and hunger, in order to awaken him to knowledge and industry, so I have hedged in all governments under the sun with sentinels, such a rebellion and assassinations and war and bankruptcy. As pestilence proveth man's disobedience to my commandments, so do rebellion and anarchy prove the disobedience of governments, 2 progressive spirits with which I create man. The self God saith, I will make a strong government. By armies and cruel masters will I bind the subjects in my dominions, and he draweth up a multitude of laws, and heapeth up books to explain the laws, and findeth judges to explain the books that explain the laws. He saith, Behold how wise I am. Behold the great wisdom of my judges. Behold the great learning of my books. Behold my most perfect laws. Behold my armies that stand behind all, and in great power. But lo, a star appeareth in heaven, and all his fabric goeth as a spider's web. For instead of choosing the Creator who is strong, he erected things that were nothing. Hear thy Creator, O my God. For through my Son I bequeath a new light to the lower heaven. For as thou hast proportioned to the self-gods to take kingdoms, suffer them to hedge themselves about with multitudes of laws, but thou thyself shalt have no laws, save the rites and ceremonies, which thou shalt adorn with music and processions. And it shall come to pass that dominions of the self-gods will prosper for a season, and they will, for sake of self-glory, deplete the earth people of familiar spirits and feudals. But in time after, their subjects will tire of the laws of self-gods, and hearing that thou hast no laws save rites and ceremonies, they will come to hoard of their own accord. Hence, then, shalt Thou convert the nurseries and hospitals and factories and places of education into places of delight and recreation. The voice ceased, but Sue said, behold, the time cometh in all the atmospherean heavens when the discipline of former days must give way to something new. And such a time is now in this kingdom. It may be likened to a young child that hath been laid by the hands for a long time, but now hath become strong of limb so as to walk alone. For this purpose hath the earth been brought through the fields of Zachara, and my hosts are come with music and wisdom. Hear them, I decree, O God of earth, and thou shalt be the most blessed of gods. Send my messengers into all parts of Atmospheria, proclaiming a recreation of 10 days of music and dancing, and marching with pageantry and fastening, to be a horde in the first of the moon of Jaeth. The rest leave to the Father. He will provide us in the time thereof, and while the time is coming, I will go around the earth with my hosts in my Etherian ship. God said, I perceive thy wisdom, O Jehovah. In thy decrees am I raised up with new wisdom and power. Oh, that I could have devised a way for them before they fell so low. Sue called the council and his own hosts from labor to recreation for one day, and the people mingled together rejoicing, for all the Etherians, the hosts of Sue, were many who had been earth-born many thousands of years before, and they assurance of the emancipated heavens above had greater weight with the atmospherians than anything that others could say. Then Sue, his host, visited the earth and her heavens, and after returned again to Horde. I'm going to leave that here, guys. So we did chapters 1 through 3, the book of the Lord, and then we did chapters 1 through 3 in the regular book. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry, I slaughtered some words, and there's a lot of pausing I had to do. I apologize. See, I have a little gap there that my teeth are a little loose, so a little difficult trying to fix that. Sending each and every one of you light, love, protection, and shielding. Please be safe as the dawn of a new week is ahead of us. And I hope that all of you have an amazing week. Please be seen, stay safe. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye, guys.